Alright, so even though there was no investigations in this day, we're still going to review it as though it was like a day after investigation going into a trial. So, let me think about this for a second. It was a very odd case altogether. I'm assuming it's about to be over. Maybe there's more to it than I am thinking. It would be cool if we go, somehow this ties into case 5 and the overall narrative of Kurain, but I don't think it will. That's why I even called it like a filler case. Usually, case 4s are not filler cases. In fact, I think it's the first time it would ever be a filler case, if it is indeed one. They might tie it into the overall narrative at the end, or like I said, there might just be more to it than I'm accounting for, but assuming it is a filler case, and assuming we're pretty close to the end, I imagine we're just going to unleash the final form of that guy, Owen, and we'll face him and just... That must have been hard to localize, because I don't know what it could have said in the original. It was probably something completely different. They even had to justify it by saying, oh, this is like a special English edition Kutra card. Which you can tell is dialogue only in there because obviously in Japanese it would just be a Japanese Kutra card. You wouldn't have to justify or explain it. But Owen the Fourth or Owen Fourth. As if you would need to make it that cryptic anyway. But whatever. So thinking about it, let's see. You start off... Oh, let me first do that tangent about case 4s not being filler cases. So in the original game, I won't even count case 5 as being there, because that would be unfair as like to say it wasn't there in the original, it was only 4 cases. That was added later in the re-release for the DS. But regardless of that, case 4 being the final case was... Which I assume it's not here. I assume there'll be there has to be a 5th case. You can't just leave Phoenix hanging in Kurain and end on this note. So obviously there's a 5th case. But, yeah, the first game, it ties into the main story. Edgeworth, his backstory, his father. So that's obviously intrinsic. Even Maya and Misty and the DL6 whole shenanigans. So that was a very intrinsic case to the overarching story. Case 4 in the second game, if you think about it, maybe doesn't have that much to do with the overarching story. I mean, obviously Maya gets kidnapped, but aside from that, the main thing is its character development for Phoenix, where he has to go through basically what Edgeworth went through in the first game, which is you know your client is guilty, but you still have to defend them. So the extent to which that really is a character development experience for Phoenix, I suppose it's intrinsic, but that's borderline filler. Like you could equate it to like, oh, it's like Turnabout Samurai Part 2. So the subject matter and the case itself doesn't have to do with them personally in any way. It's just Mad on Guard, Juan Corrida, these are just random people to you. But at least Maya's kidnapped and Phoenix has to undergo character development. So I wouldn't consider it filler, but it's borderline with the subject matter, at least. And case 4 in Trials and Tribulations is like... It has to do with Dahlia Hawthorne, who's sort of the main villain of that game, although I don't think of it that way because she's such a klutz. But whatever it is, she's at least tied into that. Case 1 and 4 are tied together. Cases 1, 4, and 5 are tied together. So I guess cases 2 and 3 are filler in Trials and Tribulation. Right, Furio Tigre has nothing to do with anything. Maggie Bird and Luke Amy, although he's amazing, one of the best villains, one of the best cases, it still doesn't have to do with anything outside of the case itself. It's not even to say filler cases are bad, it's just for case 4 to be one is odd. And we'll get to this game in a second, but case 4 of Apollo Justice is obviously not filler at all. It's to do with the whole Phoenix getting revenge on Kristoff and catching Kristoff for the second time after case 1. So that obviously is intrinsic to the plot. Dual Destinies, case 4 was what? It was like it was just part of case 5. So I don't even consider it its own case. It may as well, Dual Destinies may as well just have had 4 cases. Cases 4 and 5 are combined together into one. So it's not filler, but it's not really even a case. I thought this might be like that. Like this case would be a precursor to case 5, but it's even worse than that in the sense that it's just a random filler case out of nowhere. So I hope case 5 is really long. Again, all this is assuming that something doesn't happen here that does tie into it, but it just seems unlikely. Pretty much the only thing it's doing is introducing the Black Quill is still around and that Athena can hold her own, which we already established, I think, in case 3 of the last game, but whatever. So, case 4 of Investigations was a direct tie into case 5. Callisto U, the secondary villain, into Quercus Alba, the boss. That was a very important intrinsic case there to the smuggling ring. In fact, that game as a whole does a great job of tying everything in, more so than almost any other, with the smuggling ring being the overarching narrative. You don't notice it at first, maybe when you're first playing through it, but when you are done, you think about Portsman was trying to get the tape from Edward's room that goes way back to Cochin and Alba. So he was trying to steal evidence for the smuggling ring. The bubble blowing chick, what's her name? Cammy Meal was trying to interfere with the Interpol agent, the Hicks guy. I think he works for Interpol, I forget. But he was investigating the cargo and she knew she'd be found out. But she was also covering things up for the smuggling ring. And then case 3 is a bit of a mess, but it ends up being that Ernest Amano is Alba's ally, so that ties in as well. And case 4 obviously is Callisto U with the double murder. So that ties in directly with Manny Cochin, Callisto U, and Alba. So it all has to do with the smuggling ring and its associates. So that's a beautifully tied together narrative that is so subtle, in fact, that you don't notice it as you're doing it. So that's really well done. Unlike Dual Destinies, where, you know, like what ties together there? Case 1 is the explosion, which I guess ties with case 4 and 5, but cases 2 and 3 really have nothing to do with anything. Case 2 is filler. Case 3, I guess, references the Dark Age of the Law, but that's more just a general concept. Professor Means doesn't really have anything to do with the larger plot. And he was a disappointment as a villain, but that's a separate topic. So then case 4 of Investigations 2 is obviously intrinsic to a lot of things. The whole background plot with the fake president. Blaze the Best was involved in that. Blaze is hounding Simon, trying to find him. Simon's playing with Blaze. He kind of manipulates everybody. He manipulates Blaze to do the killing in the first place. Or the victim to approach him, I think, too. So he's manipulating a lot of things. So it involves Simon, Blaze. Obviously, that's a very, very important case. So this is the first time it would just be a random case. Athena's just proving herself again. Doesn't really have to do with the Kurain presence. And if you think about case 1 has to do with it, and case 3 had to do with it, Phoenix and Kurain. And case 3 was very important because it established a lot of things we're going to deal with going forward, I imagine, with Inga and the Queen, the secret police. We exposed Lady Kira as being a member of. So there's a lot of important stuff there. And Dirk, we're going to meet, or he's going to be a good guy. We're going to help him overthrow the government or whatever he wants to do. get rid of the DC act at the very least. And then, so case 1 and 3 tie in to the main story, and I suppose 5. Cases 2 and 4 are just completely filler, seemingly. Even though case 2 has Trucy as a defendant, that's kind of arbitrary. Like, her magic acts and stuff don't really have to do with anything. You know, it's like, if Trucy gets a DUI, do we have to defend her for that too? It doesn't mean you have to defend every little thing to do with them. So that was kind of just random. If it wasn't Trucy, it would be completely random. I guess that's the only tie-in, but who really, again, nobody cares about the magic background. That's not the main plot of the game. And case 4, again, so far it's just been about food, a restaurant, performers, almost like the band case, Turnabout Serenade, and Apollo Justice. It doesn't tie in to anything with Kurain as far as I can see so far. I hope it does tie in somehow, but I don't see how it would. So far we've had the 3 witnesses. We started with Blackquill. That was kind of a short, brief one. Then we went to the Geiru, which is like Geiru from Dragonball GT. I just thought of that, but Geiru, the clown balloon person. And so she gave testimony about the dog in the doorway, vision being blocked, stuff like that. So I almost thought it could have been her at first. But now it's clearly going to be this Owen fourth personality thing. And so that answers what they were talking about at the beginning when they said he. It was his own personalities talking to each other, saying, oh, what if he did it, Owen being the one. So that was kind of an impossible thing to guess. And so it's an okay outcome, I guess. I guess the series hasn't done the split personality thing too much. Pretty much the only closest thing, I guess, would be in case 2 of this game itself, where you have the 2 bunnies alternating. You know, one's really quiet and shy, the other one's very aggressive and angry and harsh, rude. And so it's not a terrible thing, it's just not that interesting either. The psychology stuff kind of dragged on. And just to show that maybe is the pet peeve or the really bad thing about this game is that case 1 was short and to the point. Case 2, the trial day was a bit bad. It almost starts off top heavy and then it gets better towards the end a little bit. But the end of case 3 and the end of this case seem to both have the same problem, is that you're expecting it to go somewhere else, to another witness, or to end quicker. Like, this could have gone back to Geiru, and she could have been the final villain. Maybe she still will be. And case 3, you should have gone to the wife, and she should have been the final testimony / villain. But it just ended with the same guy, the trust in me, being channeled by Maya. So he goes on way too long. It felt like 5 testimonies, just way too much with him. It was the seance / Emma, and then it was him over and over and over, and the case just ends with him. And then same thing here, you go through a quick little Simon thing, which is the equivalent to me of like an Emma or a Gumshoe type of detective testimony. Not that he's a detective, but still. And then you have Geiru, the first witness, and then you have the culprit. But then he's gone on so long. You did like 2 testimonies, then the psychology stuff, then another, it seems like 3 testimonies, and then, or was it 1 or 2 or whatever, but now there's a break, and then we're going to do it again with the same guy. We're going to reveal the Owen personality. It just seems like too much of the same character. Even if the character is good, even if you like the character, and even if the content is good, it does seem like a mistake to push one testimony or one character so far. where you're just with them for like an hour. It just goes on and on, hours at this point. People, you know, even Quercus Alba, my favorite villain and one of the best villain, I think is the best villain in the series, but at least one of them, people still complain he goes on too long, which is still fair, but that's more so a flaw of the case. The fact that they just bombard you with him all at the end. The pacing is a bit flawed. So even though he's the best villain in my view, the case still has issues for even dragging him on too long or all at once more so. You do a little investigating here and there in between, but mainly it's like kind of all at once. So it's the same thing here. You kind of deal with this guy over and over and over, this Uendo. So even when it's a great villain like that, it still is better to space it out more. But this guy is far from that, so it's even worse because it's just too much. Oh, you just go right back into court too. We didn't even have a lobby scene. Okay, whatever. Now that the buns, yeah, we were waiting for the buns so he can eat them and then pass out. Which itself is a very weak point. Like, that was one of the worst parts so far in this case, is that you say something could have caused him to pass out. And then you just point to a random bottle. Like, you can't prove he drank the bottle. You can't prove he even ate this. We haven't talked about fingerprints on it or something. So you can't even prove that he ate that. So it's so far out there what we're doing. We're trying to prove the fourth personality, which doesn't even prove that he did it. We're proving it with the fact that, oh, well, he could have passed out to something. So then we just randomly say, oh, it must be the sake. And it must be now the food. And again, it's just all conjecture. We can't prove he ate or drank any of it. And we could see maybe if it's still in his system. But now we're going to force him to eat it to expose this fourth personality. And then just the fact that... what was the other part? I said, like... Athena said something else. I forgot what I was going to say. There was something else bad about it. Oh yeah, like... You could just say, oh, he passed out from tripping on the TV and hitting his head. That would be just as plausible of an argument. Because he does say he bumps his toe on the TV. So why couldn't he have just fallen over and passed out? That would be a way of passing out too, wouldn't it? So it's just kind of random grasping at straws. You're gonna force him to eat something that you know contains alcohol and could cause him harm and make him pass out again? Okay. We know now that it has sake in it. We didn't know that before. Just because it has the same logo, as if the same company can't produce anything without sake in it. Because this has a camel and so does that. So that just means they must both have the exact same ingredients, of course. Unique sweetness. Anyone can pass out from eating. It's completely subjective, you're right. It's a very odd thing to prove. Yeah, you could just say that, or I'm just not hungry. It doesn't prove he did it. It just proves maybe that it'll unlock the fourth personality, which itself is kind of wild, but just eat it and do it. Less bleeding, more eating. Good. Good one. So now we'll see Owen unleashed. You can just spit it out sneakily or something. Or keep it in your throat or your gum. It don't affect me in the slightest. Hey, oh, does that mean that guy's been eating those all day? Is that why he talks so weird? Bucky. Okay. So we gotta get Bucky some counseling so he stops talking like a moron. I thought he just naturally talked like that. But he must be drunk. So here comes Owen. Here's Owen. It could be like The Shining. How's he gonna look? Not very intimidating. Yeah, somehow you can tell that just by looking at it. Why would you ask that normally? He looks more timid than scary, but... Five. So he's not fit to testify? He could just... Oh, he could just be acting, too. Maybe he's not always like this. Of course, yeah, that's the logical, natural conclusion. And wouldn't the charges be completely different? Like, what does happen if a 5-year-old kills someone? I guess that very rarely happens anywhere. Could he have actually committed the murder? I think he's just pretending. As if he couldn't act. Just because he's a different personality. Let's just say he has a 5th personality and he unleashed that one by tripping on the TV and bumping his head. Defense was hoping this hidden personality would be the real killer. It doesn't matter about the personality though. It's a physical question. Like, did he physically have the ability and the willingness to do it? Who cares about the personality? Most people only have one, but they still did it, so who cares? Where was he? What was he doing? We know he was in the room and he found the body. I just don't like this case, I guess. I don't know what else to say. It's way all over the place. The first half was good, but this guy's dragged on way too long. Do you know something about what happened to your master? I think he's just putting on an act. I think this form is very aggressive and violent. Auntie Athena. Imagine having a 19-year-old aunt. What a scary lady. She's really not. Say please, not please. Super nice. He always played with me. It's like your grandpa. This is very odd. Oh, don't make me do this again. The psychology thing. Wait, what? Is he gonna be Geiru then? You just believe him like that? Yeah, please, let's do. To cover for Geiru? Because... why? Owen is only 5 years old and absolutely adores the master, so it must be the other chick who... so it was her all along, okay. Wouldn't have been Tornado. So who did it? There's only one other person it could be. The victim himself. He committed suicide like the last case, right? Holy shit. It was the victim, right? Couldn't have been the victim. The true killer. Well, we'd still be saying that. Wet Noodle 3. No. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you could just keep going. It's his 5th personality, then his 6th personality. It could be saying the same thing though. Isn't that what we've been saying the whole time? We just said it was somebody different. Yeah, you would lose a lot of credibility like that in a real court. Although she didn't explicitly say he did it. That's fair. I think she kept saying he might have done it. He's just a suspect, so she was careful. Well, we were just bluffing about the whole Owen thing. Original crime scene. What about it? They first named Owen, and then they named Bucky? Or... Wait, they first... I got it backwards. Yeah, so it's first Owen, then it's Bucky. So who would implicate Owen? Not the victim, it would be... Okay. Was it undeniably Uendo? Undoubtedly Uendo. He already knew his master was dead. His tampering with the crime scene, using the TV, all but proves it. Okay. But then why go through all that trouble to do the fake performance and everything like that? Confess. Tampered with the scene of the crime. I don't get why he would bother. If he knows he didn't do it, yeah, please tell us. To protect Geiru? Or... Oh, he didn't know himself because he can't. They have separate memories. I get it. They did say that before. Apparently, yeah. They said that 3 do share memories. So maybe he genuinely isn't aware of it. But then how come... Well, they know, I guess the 3 know that he exists, but they don't know what he does. That's why they were saying at the beginning, he might have done it. And we were wondering who he could be. They feared Owen killed the master, so they tried to hide Owen from us. So even he didn't know. Yeah, of course. He couldn't have possibly done it. We haven't heard a pregnant wife killing a serial killing deity impersonator, but still. A serial killer of insurgents was just killed by a pregnant wife with a rock, but you could never ever have a 5-year-old kill an old man. Of course not. With a bowl. That could have been this kid. A 5-year-old split personality disorder person killed a 70-year-old man with a bowl of Soba. That would have been the headline. Tried to pin the crime on Owen. There is a motive for that now. The fact that she was bitter. She has 12 years of experience. He's much less experienced, but he's still senior to her. And he's cheating, quote unquote, using Owen, I guess you could say, or using the split personalities. Even though I don't see anything wrong with that, but supposedly she could be salty about that. Yeah, I give you that. It does sound like it to me. It's a lot of stretches. I mean, literally, there's only one other person. Unless you say it's Blackwell, it would have to be her. Literally nobody else. Yeah, let's just ask Geiru herself. So it is going to turn around differently from what I thought. I thought this would be the end and you'd catch him. But now they've reversed it again. It's like you keep disproving your own theories. We were set on the fact that Owen was a killer. Now we're just saying he's not. I don't know. At least that's where the theorizing was going. Your desperation is disgraceful. Let it go and move on. So he witnessed it. Have Owen testify again. Or I guess Owen hasn't testified yet. Then we'll have Geiru testify for the final showdown for real. At least we got to hear the final music once before the break, or a couple times. Now it'll be back to normal testimony music and then the final showdown. Standing with a knife in his hand, probably for cooking purposes. Blood was dripping onto his face. But there was no blood, it was... must be the broth. Couldn't move. What time was it? You were scared, you passed out. Was anybody else there? That was a very odd testimony. But it's not a blood kind of murder, it's a clean murder, suffocation. It's like when the killer kills Juan Carrito with a scarf and then Adrian Andrews stabs it afterwards. There was no blood here at all, though. The blood there was post-mortem. This is just non-existent. It must be the broth. He's confusing it because he's 5 years old, I guess. I don't know how much he's acting. It doesn't seem like he is. Don't do the widget thing. I don't feel like it right now. No, don't do it, don't do it. No. God damn it. You'd think I'd like this more, but the last one was so fucking random. So it seems to want you to pick the different levels of it more so than the emotion itself. So when anytime something is stronger, you just pick it. Just because you couldn't feel any different degree of emotion. They all have to be like the same. Like he's too sad. Standing with a knife. He's just cooking. Blood was on his face. Probably just broth. Wait, he only has one emotion though. You couldn't move. And you were so scared you passed out. So... I don't know what we're... Oh, we're looking for an object? This is different at least. Root cause of the turmoil. Was it the knife? Was it the blood on the face that isn't actually blood? Or was it... something else? You couldn't move. I don't see what it could be here. Couldn't be himself. Or maybe just the fact that he's in his final form. You were kind of relieved there, but is just passing out. What is he wearing? What is that? He's using it like a... It's just like his cloak, but he's using it like a blanket type of thing. I don't think they penalize you in this mode though, because they know how arbitrary it can be sometimes. Okay, let's say it was the knife. Let's say it was just the victim himself. Maybe he's just afraid of the victim. He doesn't like the victim. Could be the knife, could be the blood, it could be a lot of things. Imagine Blackwell being the one who has to talk to a kid. Athena was doing pretty good with that whole auntie thing at the beginning. Alright, at least they don't penalize you. So it could be him, it could be the knife, it could be the blood. I don't... Any of these things would make sense. Root cause of the turmoil. I think the music stops if you're right. Oh my god. It's just like they all make sense and they're all plausible. You just don't know which way it wants you to go. Is it the blood? That would make sense. Okay. Blood was dripping onto his face. It's obviously the broth, isn't it? Which I actually thought was blood on the table at first. How could blood drip onto his face? But he's standing up, yeah. Child is a tale he dreamt up. But did he see anybody else? That's my main thing. Drip down from the ceiling, it's obviously the broth. Yeah, just throw it out. 5-year-old testimonies aren't admissible. Thing you and your cohorts do. Cross-examination? Oh. I think Mia deserves credit for that one. She's the one who always said that. I guess Phoenix is allowed to say it, not you, Blackwell. Even Edgeworth says it in Turnabout Ablaze when he does the samurai dog thing. Everybody stole her phrase. Poor Mia. We'd better get to see her now since Maya's allowed to channel in Karain, or at least since she did do it. She better be there for like the whole case 5, Mia. Rotating your thinking. What, Phoenix never taught you that technique? That's his trump card in every case. See, his rotate might just work perfectly. From 90 degrees. One at 360 and then walk away. Haha. He must have been... Well, in the images we just saw, he looked like he was standing up. Doing a handstand, why not? What would make sense? Pressed against a wall. I don't see why that would make a difference. Let's say he was on the floor. Why don't we just ask him first? How are you standing? All of the visuals were off by 90 degrees. This means he was lying on the floor. So they put him up in the chair? But it's not blood. So it fell from the table onto his face, the broth. Nobody else is bleeding in this case. I was really hoping this case would be the one. 3 was good until the end. This is just going to be bad, and then 5 is going to have to be amazing to make up for what was really no standout cases. You know, 1 was decent. It was good for a first case. Not too, over long. Case 2 was 2 halves, First half was great, investigation. Trial day was pretty bad. Case 3, the first 75% of it was good, then the last part of the second day of trial was terrible. And then this one was good, first half was good, second half was terrible. So it's all been leaving something to be desired. There's no standout case. Somebody was sitting on top. Sitting on top. So it really was blood? Bloody killer. She's gonna have a wound that'll prove she did it? Like the Godot thing or the Alba thing, kind of? Or the bleeding killer, so we'll have to prove that he attacked the killer with the knife or something? The blood that stained the victim's face red came from the person sitting. Victim was holding a knife, so he likely nicked his attacker when he was fighting back. That's a heck of a knife to nick somebody with. The assailant was injured on their face. Underneath her hair or her nose? Because her nose is covered up? Is that really what it's going to be? Instead of the visor that Godot had to take off, it's going to be the little nose that she has to take off? Or it could just be under her hair, I suppose. Like the forehead. Could be anywhere. Face to face, or it could be anywhere on their body, really. I mean, you can't say that for sure. The accused has a fresh bandage. Check the stupid clown's nose. Just check everybody involved with the incident. Check Simon under his hair, too. Whatever. Is it even an injury? Come on, that's gotta be what it is. Okay. The reason for his out of control emotions, all I did was raise further suspicion. Call Geiru to the stand, but I think we have more psychology stuff to do. Yeah, we still didn't address the deed thing. Why did he steal the deed, and what was that all about? Did the killer maybe want the deed instead, or what? Or maybe he didn't really steal it, and they just think he did? Found in the victim's possession. But maybe somebody else put it there. Like they planted it there as part of the motive thing too? He was leading when he said that, and I was wondering, why did he specify forehead? But it's because he knew that Bucky was injured there. Yeah, let's just give up. On this witness, at least. There's another suspect. Let's check Geiru's face. Time she gave up, she tried everything she could. At least they're being sympathetic. Lawyer did her best, but all the signs proved the defendant's guilt. I mean, we did just meet him right before the trial. Yeah, the first time you met him. Leaving you to the very end. Oh my god. Yeah, they were empty. What were they based on? She knew nothing about the case. How can you have conviction in something you know nothing about? Literally, right? The Kutra cards. Ah. What is that? Motive, opportunity, injury to his forehead. You get this close up. We don't normally see these. I mean, that is pretty good. Who am I to Bucky? Nobody? Miss Chickadee Lawyer. That is like the first time someone's physically assaulted someone. Just a pep talk. Thank you, prosecutor. Never thought I'd hear that phrase. Didn't do it for your sake. Oh god, can we stop doing this therapy shit? I think the only time I enjoyed it was against the Phantom because he would play with it. He could control it at will. So that actually made it more interesting. Somebody was sitting on top of a shisha, bleeding from their head. Smooshing something into his face. Which is the bowl, probably? That's funny. It's not a very funny description. No inconsistencies. Don't seem to be any contradiction in the testimony itself. Well, maybe it'll take you a minute to find them like usual. Press for more details. What? Is making you focus too much on his feelings. Something he's being very vague about, so press for more details. So what do we do? Oh god. What is he being vague about? Let's see what he said again. The person who is sitting on top. We can't press. Wait, we can't even do anything. We have, oh, we can present something. Had blood on his face, knife in his hand. But it's obviously not his blood, we've established that. He's on the floor, someone was smooshing something onto his face. So it's probably, what is that object? Couldn't move at all, I was so scared, I passed out. Well, we don't really care about that, do we? We could just show, like, what is it that he's talking about? He was alive, that's already been disproven. This is just the routine schedule. That has nothing to do with it. Nothing's in his lungs. So that's fine. Just show what it was that... Objection. I don't really know how that's an objection. We're just telling him what the object was. Which is literally not an objection. It's just an answer or additional facts and evidence. Right here in the crime scene photo. What do you mean? Wouldn't you agree that the bowl was the murder weapon? Or did they... Oh, is it something else now? Because they said it couldn't be the bowl because it had broth in it or something? It no longer looks the way it did when it was used as the murder weapon. This is what he pressed into the face. I mean, it could still just be the ball. It no longer looks the way it did. I mean, that seems too obvious that it would just be the bowl again. What else could it be? There's nothing in his lungs. I'll try it, but it doesn't... Yeah, that was way too obvious. I don't know why I even tried that. Yeah, just try everything. Cena psychs out the judge. This is what he pressed into the face. And she said it doesn't look like it did at the time. The other ball, maybe? Or... I don't know. The flower? I don't know what we really have to go on. This trial's been really bad for just... What would make sense? She just said it was something that looks different now than it did then. You don't see it because it no longer looks the way it did when it was used as a weapon. I don't see how it could be the bottle. He was on the ground. Are they gonna say somehow it's the flower? Deck of cards, the bowl, the plate. This thing somehow? I don't see how. I'm really not getting some of these at all. Maybe I'll use my consultation thing? I hate using this, but it's better than just randomly guessing. What do you got for me, Blackwell? Or wait, he's not even helping me. What the hell? Maybe it's too late, you have to do it like earlier in the thing? I don't know. So this is still broth, not blood, right? Because if it's blood, they should have mentioned that earlier. No, it's definitely not, though. It doesn't look the same now as it did then. The cloak itself? I really don't know. I guess we could just continue and then we'll get more life back. That's kind of sad. I started off this trial like perfect, and then the last segment and this segment I've got gamed over a lot. Because I'm just guessing, I don't know. Maybe... I don't know. There's just not enough to go on for any of this. It's just random, like, oh, the sake is on the table, so he must have drank it and passed out and unleashed his fourth personality. It's such a reach. Everything is a stretch. What is he uncertain about? It's not even the same photo that's being shown up there. It's zoomed in from the other angle. The flower? This is what he pressed. What could it possibly be? The table itself? The flower? There's not much else it could be. Let's say it's the table itself? I really don't know. Wouldn't the flower be in his system though somehow? What is that blue thing on the bottom? I don't even know what that is. I don't know. I really have no idea. You can say it's my fault, like, oh, I'm just not good enough or I'm not paying attention, but like, I don't know. You can't change the angle. What is that blue thing? The mat that's under him? That would be really an odd position to show it. So it wasn't the flower either. The mat under him. I've clicked on literally every object. What the fuck? Let me put on the consultation and see. It's on, but I can't use it. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. The other little plate thing? What could it possibly be? He was on the ground. Could it be the door somehow? The way they picture it, it wouldn't make sense. Deck of cards? Wow. I've clicked on like every object on the screen. This is unbelievable. This is amazing. Like, whoever got this on the first try, what could it possibly be? His own hand? It's something in this photo. Something right here at the crime scene. Yeah, I agree with Sodomy on this one. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. Nothing during their investigation. She says it doesn't look like it used to look. It changed. What? I mean, I've clicked on everything. I don't... I clicked on the bowl. I clicked on that. It would have to be pressed into his face. I clicked on the present thing, or it looks like a present, but it's the wrapper for the little sweets there. Wow. I guess I can just say I'm doing badly here. It's my fault, but I don't know what we have to go on. The bottle, the glass, like, what could it be? The cards. It doesn't look like it looked at the time of the crime. Let me try the door? I don't know what that would do. This is unbelievable. Like, I'm just clicking on everything. I have no idea what it is. The TV showing the marks on the ground. This is actually impressive that, like, you can click on everything and it's still not there. Like, I'll just click on everything. I give up. The bottle. Okay. I legitimately have no idea. This has rarely happened in the series. I'm clicking everything except for the right thing. Not the glass. It was something that was there, and now it looks different. The cards themselves. This is amazing. What could I be missing? I've clicked on everything on the screen. I have no theories, no idea. Wow, this is a low moment. I guess I'm just too dumb to figure it out, huh? Fuck. It won't even let me consult. This would be the perfect time to do it. I have no clue. I'll just click every pixel on the screen and eventually get it right. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? I tried that. The electric outlet? I don't fucking know. This is amazing. This is really spectacular. It's not even a question of, oh, I don't know what it is. I'm just guessing. Like, I'm clicking every object there and there's nothing. Is there some description that'll maybe help me? What does it say? I tried that pad under him even too. So it's the same picture. How can it be? I tried the table. There's no way people got this normally. What the hell is that? Victim was making soba noodles from scratch, covered with flour, 2 drink cans in the fridge, the TV, but I can't even show the TV. What is happening? Just show the flour again? I tried it, but I guess I'll try it again. I don't know. Even just wildly guessing, I can't get it. This container for the cards. Wow. Just wow. I got nothing. What a fucked up part. Tried the table, tried that. Tried the food itself. Which again, it would have been in the system. It has to be something that wouldn't be found in his lungs or his system. I really couldn't tell you. I feel like I've clicked on everything. His hair? This is some of the most stumped I've ever been in the series. This is amazing. Am I like soft locked? Did I just go down the wrong path and it'll still let me save it? I mean, fuck Bucky, I don't know what to do. I'm completely at a loss. Let me see. Oh my god. Let's see. Let's put a name to the thing he was uncertain of. Identifying the murder weapon that is used to suffocate the victim. I spy it right in that photo, even though that's a different photo than the one I'm actually choosing from. For once, I agree with you, buddy. The police found nothing. Where is the murder weapon? It no longer looks the way it did when it was used as a weapon. I mean... what looks different? Like, what could it possibly be? I've clicked on everything. Nothing to do with the dog. The deed. Nothing in his lungs. I just couldn't tell you. The food itself, even though it's not in his lungs or his system. Let me try the food. What the fuck? Mystery person that pressed it, thereby suffocating him. Wait, what was that sentence? What? The mystery person that Owen saw press Soba into the victim's face, thereby suffocating him. Even though there's none in his system. Right? It would fall apart. Oh, it's the dried one that they talked about, right? Or something. They said there was a dried one in the fridge and then it went missing. But where's it gonna be hidden? Inside a balloon or something? Culprit must have smothered him with uncooked soba noodles. Or what? They'd be harder, right? Or boiled or whatever. I don't even care anymore. Softer. Okay. That's how you know it's just a bad part. It's not even that, oh, I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I just don't even care. Like, I've just lost interest in this case now. Balled up soba noodles. The dough? I don't know what she's even getting at. Used the soba before it was cut into noodles. Raw soba dough. Which again would not end up in his system. Any of it would be found, like no trace of it in his lungs. I guess it's more like a blunt suffocation. I don't know about that. Wouldn't there be some residue or something? Letting the soul of the victim know that the accused will finally face justice thanks to the foolish lawyer before me. Yeah, I'm having trouble with him too. Please do. As the accused... Oh, now this is a fake picture because this didn't happen. As the accused was killing the victim, he was slashed in the face by the victim's knife. Couldn't you compare the wound, like Edward style? Compare the wound to the shape of the weapon? Would it match? If that really is your claim? The weapon he used to suffocate the victim was the dough in the dressing room. Where did the dough go? He disposed of the murder... Well, you're just coming up with that yourself. She never even said that. He disposed of the murder weapon by cutting the soba into noodles. And then where did the noodles go? Afterwards, the accused put the victim's face into the bowl of noodles and broth. I don't care what anyone says, this case is just lame. Especially this whole second half part. Can we just get Geiru on the stand? Wash off the blood that had dripped onto the victim's face from his own. How exactly would that work? He put the victim's face in the bowl of soba noodles and broth to wash the blood, so there'd be no trace. We need some luminol over here. Yeah, Emma Sky up in here. She hasn't been involved in this case at all, actually. So who's the detective or whatever? I never once said that. What was the culprit? Who but him knows how to cut noodles? I mean, maybe they all do? Is it really that hard? Considerable training? Well, that Geiru chick is pretty old. She's had plenty of time to learn. Defendant wouldn't have known about Owen. Maybe he could have. How do we know? But perhaps the victim was simply playing with the cards and they hold no other meaning. That's kind of a weak theory, isn't it? He spelled out Owen's name in jest sometime before his murder. The victim still, you're saying? It's clear that Tornado cared for the boy. Here we go. Taken together, they point a convincing picture of the defendant's guilt. Is there anything else you can tell us? Doesn't matter how small of a detail, anything will do. Put on your auntie act again. Yeah, except he's not. No need to be scared, just tell us anything you can remember. The person who killed Jisho was standing over me. What did they look like? Bleeding from their head. Couldn't we just test everyone involved in the case, including the witnesses that we just spoke to, for head injuries? How hard would that be? That's all we need. Of course you should remember that. What do you mean you don't know? Can we just get to the cross-examination of Geiru? We're analyzing the dreams of a child. You wasted enough time. But you were using these same claims to trying to get a guilty verdict. It's not like you've thrown his testimony out completely. Wish we could do a cross-examination. I don't like all this shit, dude. There's blood on his face and a knife in his hand. Okay. It's like a butcher knife, so very shocking that it wouldn't be enough to even kill the culprit. Probably just glancing blowed. He was on the floor and somebody was smooshing dough into his face. It's like very feminine hands to me. Couldn't move at all. I was scared. I was passed out. When I woke up, the person who killed him was standing over me. With the blood. Now it's showing on the forehead. But that could be completely wrong. There's no proof of that. It just fits our defendant. He had blood on his face and a knife in his hand. He was on the floor and somebody was smooshing dough into his face. Couldn't move at all. Maybe it's just the fact that he's a bit more surprised here. So scared I passed out. When I woke up. Why would you be happy about that? Must mean you at least know them. Why would you cover for her? Despite witnessing the terrible crime, you were happy. Just the fact that it was over? Or that. And maybe you thought it was all a dream or something? He explained it pretty well, actually. Yeah, just the fact that he knows him. Nice smell. I love the smell of that perfume. That'll tell you right there who did it. Thank you. That was very conclusive testimony. We already heard that she wears very strong perfume. We know. That's enough for us. Why would you need more than that? How hard is it to figure out? Bucky always tells her very rudely, get out of my face because her perfume bothers me. Or it'll mess up my food. So we can have him testify to that effect. Owen is now resting in the infirmary. They certainly have their hands full today down there. Oh, because Bucky keeps passing out too. Well, if we're going to admit that testimony, it should be perfume. I don't know how you couldn't figure this out in like a millisecond. Unless you're going to say Bucky... Oh, God. Now that is pretty weak. You should just try to dismiss the testimony instead of saying that. Perfumes and hair products, that's kind of weak. Only person who can cut noodles. Yeah, how are we going to prove that? Did she learn that at some point? I mean, there's only one other we're concerned about. Can only be Hughes, Bucky, Wet. Who's that gonna be? The defendant themselves? Yeah. Oh man, I'm tired of this case now. Let's just get Geiru on the stand. I never use hair products. Tell us who would use perfume. If I wore something like that, the smell would get into the Soba. We've heard this before. I mean, it's even easy on the basis that she's a girl and nobody else is a girl, so girls wear perfume, guys don't. They could have used a different word. Reminds me of Angel Star. Giving everybody food. He's trying to win us over with his cooking skills. You think I'd let myself sing a perfume? Try that chill Soba for yourself and see. Strictly for examination purposes. Didn't you already eat so much? What did he eat? The camel sake buns, whatever they're called. Bean bun. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Oh my god. No traces of hair products or perfumes. It's different than what I had. Banu Poon. What does any of this have to do with it? Build Soba 680. I don't know how big it is though. Is it for what he's carrying in his hand? It's pretty good. It doesn't matter if it's good. Definitely no perfume. Still pales in comparisons to his late father's cuisine. You gotta stop eating those stupid buns. You can't have a cook constantly passing out. He's gonna throw up in your food. How long is this gonna go on, dude? I call Geiru to the stand. Geiru. Could be Geiru too. Geiru. Only one person who could be wearing perfume. He already testified complaining about it, or somebody did. Who said that? Oh, even she said herself that Bucky always is mean to me and complains about my perfume. Will mess up his food. If you don't get it by now, it's like they got that thing instantly that I couldn't figure out. That somehow the food did it, which contradicts the fact that there would be nothing in his system. Even dough should appear in his system somehow, some slight trace or residue or something. But she can't figure this out. So she was 20 steps ahead of me on that one. I couldn't figure that out for the life of me. And she seemed to know instantly. But this I've known like for 10 minutes and they keep beating around the damn bush. How hard is this to figure out? Who else could it be? I wonder who it could be. The prosecutor, sodomy. I honestly just want to see what it says if I get it wrong. The female version of Huendo. The victim, Blackwell. Let's do the prosecutor just as a joke. No doubt about it, it's this person. Can't you smell him? He's right over there. And now you're gonna act like I'm stupid, but I called it like 15 minutes ago. How hard is it to figure out? Everyone just said ... D. Vasquez reaction. We've had plenty of takebacks. Oh, now you're acting like it's obvious after wasting 15 minutes of our time. Jesus Christ. So we have yet another clown culprit. But you must have forgotten about that till now, eh? Well, we've done it because of less in the past. Because of owning a Steel Samurai watch. That's fair. They have changed a lot, I agree. Very flip-floppy. You can certainly excuse the player for being fucking confused. You could have been at the scene of the crime. But what? You'll get to see those balloons of hers if we call her back to the witness stand. Is that really the bait you're gonna use right now? Hey, who said it's vulgar? Just a balloon animal. I can't. Are you kidding me? Yeah, Freudian effect. Maybe it's Athena's balloons, but you can barely see that are convincing you. Let's see who's a better clown culprit, Simon Keys or her. She's got to be really good to make up for this shitty case. Jesus. There wasn't even any balloon there. Hey, that's what got her on the stand. So you got to be grateful for it. All talked out, this case has left me completely defeated. Oh, you'll see what completely defeated looks like at the end. We didn't even get to take down that wife of the last case, so this is my revenge. What was supposed to be funny about that? Oh, deflated. I thought she said defeated. Person who murdered was wearing perfume. You don't have to tell her that. She didn't even know. You could have strung her along. Don't accuse her that quickly. You knew about Owen? You could have asked that before. She could have just denied it now. Could have left that fake dying message. You think I'm a murderer? That's kind of a weak basis, I agree. No evidence but the distorted memories of a small child, which you yourself were using, though, as a reference. You've used weaker than that. You used the fact that Maya owns a Steel Samurai, or a, what do you call it? Plumed Punisher strap to say she was there at the scene. Because the theme was playing. That's pretty weak, too. If you ask me. Oh, no, the judge wants to see your balloon some more. Let's keep it going. Just testify for us. Can't the judge decide? Let the judge choose.
Silence.
The other prosecutor disagrees. Entertainer. Let's give us one final testimony. Oh, it's like he knew that. Can't we get that more often? Wow, that could have saved us a lot of trouble in different cases. Simon could have done that to Blaze the Best's beard. He could have just ripped it off. He could have taken off Godot's mask for us. We should do that more often. That's kind of like cheating. Wow. He's getting impatient too. So it was just under her hair the whole time. I thought it might be on her nose for some reason. Yeah, relying on the testimony of a 5-year-old. Amazing. At least it's not as bad as a parrot, I suppose. Could have been. Oh, she's only a suspect, but... Yeah, they always say that. Contempt of court. You've been in court long enough. You should know that. But you can't do that. He doesn't have that kind of power. He's a foreign prosecutor anyway. He can just do that? There's never been such an example. It's just a penalty. Von Karma got caught for forging evidence, or for at least giving phony evidence by Gregory, and he didn't lose his badge. He just got a minor penalty, even though it bothered him a lot. That's such a stupid threat. You can't just do that. In regards to the witness, the defense wants to... I mean, we have no choice but to do it. Now there's reasonable doubt, so you should automatically... You don't have to show us any mercy. Get this case over with. You have plenty of time to regret your decision in the pit of hell. I won't need to. I like that they put this picture though of him clearly doing it. Normally these pictures are accurate. There it is. Bandage is just from a silly slip up. Well, can we compare it to the blade? Let's just compare it right now to the butcher knife. Well, you didn't ask Bucky to explain it either. Does that prove she knows how to cook? That was kind of an admission. While cooking yesterday, so you were absolutely capable of cooking in the way that we described to make some dough. Or to turn the dough into noodles and then throw them away. Presumably you didn't eat them. Bloody, bloody dough. Or wait, it was only her own blood on it though. The victim didn't bleed at all. What a twist. Little kitty. All her eyes are messed up. I think they're more creepy than cute, like we said before. You don't have an eye for balloon art. Well, she hasn't been promoted as much as... Wait, she's accepting it? Then why did you? Because you didn't have a talent for Rakugo either? It's supposed to be a Rakugo storyteller. Now you're giving your motive. She should have told me to do balloon art instead. So that's why you killed him? Good motive. Shit. Thanks for just spelling out your motive without any provocation. Because we didn't really have one before. Scent of perfume and the cut on your forehead. Don't really have a choice. What's that? Okay, that's a new face. Cut ya witch. What is that? It's like a flower with a... You can't really cut someone with a balloon. Okay, final showdown. This is what I've been waiting for. Now this is just a typical... typical witness final boss mode. What I did before the murder. Visited the dressing room during that time to make a courtesy call. So what order were the acts in? She was first, right? Hopefully this part is good at least. Geiru was to perform the balloon act, then Uendo was to perform Soba Glutton, but he actually performed Soba, Time Soba. And then, of course, the master never performed. He was supposedly rehearsing, but even that was fake. So he was dead way before. So, is she gonna use... Yeah, because the apprentices have to make a courtesy call to the... So she's not even saying she had an alibi because of the performance. So she saw him during the courtesy call, and so she had a window to kill him. But she'll say he wasn't there or something. Shisho and Owen were there, but they were both snoring up a storm. But didn't Owen have to go perform next? Or by Owen, I mean Uendo? I saw the note Shisho left, so I just left. Oh yeah, that's the camel one. That expression really isn't helping your credibility either. Perfume Owen smelled must have been left over from when I visited. Okay, that's not very plausible. But they weren't dead at the time. No shit. Don't use your psychology shit. She doesn't really use her techniques like Simon though. She needs her stupid widget to carry her. Mood Matrix. Let's try to do this without taking any hits now, for real. I visited the dressing room during that time. So I could say, what time exactly was it? Shisho and Owen were in there, but they were snoring up a storm. If I could ask her to describe the room, how did it look at that time? So it must have been after her performance. Why didn't you wake Owen up? Because he had to perform next. Saw the note. You should have woken him up so he doesn't miss his performance. The perfume Owen smell must have been left over when I visited. That's kind of a weird claim to make. Callisto U, her perfume, that was... But she used that on purpose for, to throw off something? I forget how she used it, but... This seems more like an accident. The perfume Owen smelled must have been left from when I visited. What could you ask here? It's kind of a hard... At least we get the good theme right away with this. We're probably gonna have a multi-phase thing with this. Can't be over just like that. She better be worth all the trouble in this case. Can't figure out what to ask for this last part. Owen's smell must have been the perfume from when I visited. Was there any other smell there? I could even ask, how do you know it was Owen? At the time, if he was asleep, it could have been anybody. Like any one of his personalities. I don't know, that's a hard thing to ask something to, so we'll say... Exactly what time was it? After your performance? Yeah. Well, nice question, Athena. You didn't ask fuck all. I didn't see a question mark there. Before to your master before and after your routine. Common courtesy for us Rakugo artists and entertainers. You paid the victim a courtesy call before your performance too. But he wasn't dead then, I suppose. What did you see at that time? Having a drink and getting himself into a festive mood. He liked to say that drinking gave him a silver tongue. Or I guess eating those buns too, that would get you drunk. He was already drinking, he's a morning drunk. Hair the dog that bit me. Uendo wasn't there in the dressing room yet at that time. Must have gone in there during my act, when I went back. Shisho and Owen were in there, but they were both snoring up a storm. So I could ask either, how do you know it was Owen now? You just call him Uendo. Both snoring up a storm, huh? Yeah, so I ask, how did you know it was Owen? And how did the room look at the time? Either or both of them. How they appeared or how the room appeared. They were both on the floor snoozing away. So it's interesting that you wouldn't accuse Uendo of doing it. You're still gonna stick to Bucky doing it? Because it doesn't matter to her who's found guilty. It's not like she's the prosecutor. Sitting the victim up. So who did she tried to frame? But she did try to frame Uendo with the cards, right? And then Uendo tried to frame Bucky once he saw his name. So it's like a triple frame circumstance. Frame the framer. Sitting him up over the table must have been the culprit's doing. We already knew that because he was on the ground. Who wouldn't stretch out on the floor if they could to take a nap? But that was later. He was asleep. How could you tell it was on? Yeah, that's exactly what I said. Known the guy for ages. One look at his face. Even when he's sleeping, huh? I thought when he's not conscious, like when he gets drunk. Oh yeah, he does become Owen. Never mind. That's consistent with what they said before. Get that fucking face. I saw the note Shisho laughed, so I just laughed. You're making those kind of same word jokes like he did. Like, what was it? The stiff was next to the stiff or something. The stiff card was next to the stiff body. Saw the note next to Shisho. Didn't want to disturb them. There's nothing to contradict here. What did the scene look like? And why didn't you wake him for the performance? Because he was coming up after you. Or you could ask, where was the TV? Shouldn't the TV have been moved? You should have seen it in its new location by the door. But she might not know that. Oh, add that to your testimony, then I'll show the TV was moved. Even Blackwell knows. Very nice. He knows. He knows. Nothing near Shisho, nothing near the room. That was too obvious. Simon made it too obvious. He shouldn't have done that. Come on, Athena. Get on the same page. Get on his level. Well, Blackwell sure of it. Simon says, I didn't see anything funny. Wait, this isn't the last statement. There's another one. Yeah, we missed that one. The perfume Owen smell must have been left there when I visited. Yes, do you always wear perfume like that? I don't really know. This is a tough one to ask something to. Oh shit, that's better. That's very good. Proves you were there at some point. Didn't do a thing to prove I killed him. That was a very good question. But you don't have to assert that. That's not for you to decide. I didn't see... It's not like you witnessed it, so you couldn't speak to that even if you wanted to. I didn't see anything funny near Shisho, and I didn't touch anything in the room. So what exactly did you do in the room? Like, why even go to the room then at all? Or like... How long were you in the room for, and what did you do? You hadn't seen anything unusual or out of place anywhere around the victim. It's kind of asked and answered. Wait, she just said that. Like, you're asking what's in her testimony. You only have to say it once, because then they can object, ask, and answer. Which they never do in this universe for some reason. Well, sometimes they do. Von Karma did that. Didn't see the TV? Or wait. What Uendo saw when he checked the victim's body. Does it mean it wasn't there yet? Oh, don't change it now. What is it? Soba making equipment was already there in the room. That means Bucky must have been there in the dressing room before me doing something. But that wasn't when he killed him then, because he was still alive according to you. He's still sticking to her guns. Didn't see it. Yeah, we're making it a little bit too obvious now. Some of them they beat like a dead horse, other ones they just want you to go on your own. You don't need to do this. I'm not asking for consultation. This should be what they do when you consult. You don't gotta spell it out for me. I don't think he even was helping me when I needed it though. Like I was looking for it with that picture thing. Tornado really is the one who left that. You'd think Geiru would have noticed it. I'm gonna assess who did. So it's more about the message. But I was more concerned about the TV. He just told you the answer. Visited the dressing room. Oh, this is just a reset of the thing. Alright, keep getting distracted. Let's see. I didn't see anything funny near Shisho. So all we have to do is present the... either the picture or what shows that the TV was moved. Or it seemed like Simon was going for something different. Maybe just the cards. That's what Simon was saying, I think. Okay, I would say the TV too should have been moved back. Or was that later? I suppose that might have been later on. Didn't notice anything unusual. You didn't touch anything. So how did the cards get arranged like that? You could say it was Uendo, but then why would he implicate himself? Bucky. Bucky didn't know about the... How can you prove that for sure though? I guess you'd have to prove Bucky did know about it. You shouldn't have admitted earlier that you knew. You could have just said you didn't know. That was your mistake. Nobody could prove it. The victim could say it, but he's dead. We'd need to get Maya over here and channel him. He wouldn't have spelled out Owen. As a member of Tornado School, you, Geiru, Tornado, Geiru. Only one who could have left that message. Or the only one who had a reason to. That can't be it. You must have a second testimony. Spider thread of salvation. Shouldn't it be spider web? What now? He's gonna do a stupid bead thing again? You are pretty young, but he's only 25. By how old he looks. Is he 25, 26, 25? She went back into the dressing room and soon came back out again. Victim's note was not the only reason she left with such haste. It's another reason that compelled her to leave. What's that? So he like had this plan ahead? Does he know that she had to leave? Her performance was over. They were holding this till the end. Why would the prosecutor be waiting for this? What is it? She has an allergic reaction to something? Of course, and yet you're working in a place with it there constantly. So she couldn't have cooked it? Is that the contention? But doesn't that prove that you touched it when you use it as a murder weapon? Like the uncooked dough type thing. When he's making noodles, Geiru is lucky to still be alive, considering all the flour. Well, why the hell would you work there then? I left pretty quick. I managed to escape with just a mild reaction. I touched Shisho as he was being carried away, and look what it did to my poor hands. Good excuse. So wouldn't Simon have noticed they were already like that? Since your hands were uncovered? Must have been soba broth on his clothes or something. If I'd inhaled any of it, I'd have had a seizure. Never could have stayed in that dressing room for very long. But you just needed a minute to kill him. Certainly couldn't use dough as a murder weapon either. Couldn't just be wearing gloves? Like you just were? Like you just took them off? Should have done your homework. Be my guest. Nobody even asked you to, but volunteer. Only the guilty would volunteer for such a thing. I mean, she's always wearing gloves, so how hard would it be? She's literally wearing them right now. I have an allergic reaction. That much in the air room could have killed me, then why'd you even go in there? Maybe you didn't know he was cooking. Touching his body caused this much damage. Must have been soba broth on his clothes. I don't know if there actually is or not, but I never could have committed them. Never committed that murder in the dressing room. But you admit to being there, so it wouldn't take but a minute. Could have used the gloves that she's wearing right now. Obviously not. But how is it dirty? It would have come out earlier anyway. Even if you knew about it, it would just make it harder to accuse her from the beginning. To shame with your cross-examination. So I'm assuming we have to press, that means. This must be the last one for real then. We proved that not only she didn't have an allergy, but she touched the dough. Kind of hard to believe. Is she just making it up? Can we get a doctor to confirm that she's actually allergic? Then soba broth on his clothes. I don't know about that one. How could there be soba broth on his clothes? It doesn't look like there is. If I come into the context with size buckwheat, I get an allergic reaction. So I could ask, do you have a doctor's note to confirm this, or why would you work there if you had this issue? Yeah, ask for a doctor. Grave of my father up in heaven. Even get you a doctor. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah, just believe her though. I don't ask for it. Yeah, what if we had to go to a second day of trial? Like, go get a doctor to come here tomorrow. I had allergy as long as I can remember. Never thought I'd clear me for murder. Why would your dad make you work in a place like this? Or let you, if he knew that? It's kind of inconsiderate. Smelling like a delicate buckwheat flour to boot. I don't know what that means. With that much soba flour in the air, that room could have literally killed me. So again, why do you work there? Why would you go in there? Or did you not know that that room was used for cooking, even though there's all the instruments in there? Maybe that happened. Maybe she's the one who did that afterwards. Yeah, so why would you deliberately put yourself in that situation? Well, what if he wasn't asleep? So you didn't know that before? Okay. Yeah, but then the weapon, quote unquote, that we proved was... Did she end up using like a balloon to strangle him? To suffocate him then instead of the dough? We're set on the dough, but maybe somehow she used a... Or she put a balloon over it or something stupid like that. I guess you can't prove it's that severe. Only way to test it would be to actually kill you. Well, actually, let's try that. We forced the other guy to eat something that could have potentially had health consequences. Look at my hand, just touching his body caused this much damage. So what does that exactly mean? Couldn't you have worn your gloves? Or were you wearing gloves at the time? Don't you always wear those gloves like you've been doing the whole day, even though you're not performing? Something to do with gloves. Allergic to dogs and not Soba. That's an interesting thought. Bring my Jugemu here. I'll hug and squeeze like there's no tomorrow. It's an interesting theory. It makes me think it's allergic to something other than the dog too. Like, what if she's allergic to sake, or what else is there? What did she give to her dog? Do we even have that? Her dog buried something. Maybe it was that. The dog buried the dumplings. Maybe it's the dumplings? I don't know. Would be meaningless. Well, we could still get the doctor, in case you doubt it. Get the exact note of what exactly she's allergic to. Or just throw some soba at her. Alright, fine. Love those double slaps. Allergic reaction on my hand because I touched shisha. That's kind of sketchy. I feel like I could just disprove that. You can't see any. Although it was more his chest area. Nothing was found in his lungs. They don't talk about the body too much though. Confirmed alive, that's no longer valid. We should have updated that. Cover the victim's body. Before Bucky came, Geiru was outside feeding her dog dumplings. Okay. Sipping soba broth on his clothes. You just say, how do you know that? Allergic to the noodle broth too? She'd probably say yes. Can dissolve into the broth, so yeah. Well, that might come into play somehow. Anything that has soba in it or that has touched soba is like poison to me. Is there some way we can prove that? Like even the warning that you read or that might have soba on it too. I don't know. Never could have committed the murder in the dressing room. But why does that mean she's saying it occurred right then though? Or just ask like, so you're saying if you weren't allergic you could have done it? Or like, why couldn't you just wear gloves? Or use a balloon? I guess that's kind of far out there right now. Could the murder have possibly occurred somewhere other than the dressing room? But how would she know that? Maybe it could have, but... And why would you ask the witness that though? Like she's gonna tell you. Something to do with the dog? Pecco's dog. Bisho didn't make a single step from his dressing room. Okay. So it was after your performance. Oh, was there nothing in there? Oh, that was just one of those press until it ends on its own. So it was being made. That's kind of a weird alibi. Jesus Christ. Turn things around. Do your 90-degree trick and walk away. Yeah, supposedly. Quoting Mio without even knowing it. What is it? Because I have no idea. Do your little endgame mechanic. I'll try to figure out how she could have committed the crime. Geiru could be in that room and not have an allergic reaction instead. Maybe the flower wasn't there yet. Or she put herself in a balloon. Wearing gloves, wearing a mask. Maybe if I was a lump of flour dough. Is that why the flour's there? To dilute the air? It wasn't fresh. Did she put the flour there to dilute the thing? Or appears to have been written by the victim. Maybe the killer herself put it there? Allergic to buckwheat. So her allergy is true. We're not disputing that. Why does she keep saying stuff like that? That certain piece of evidence doesn't mean what we think it means. Might be able to prove Geiru could have committed this crime. So I have to point out which piece of evidence she's talking about. What if we got facts about a piece of evidence wrong? We've gotten a lot of things wrong. Okay, I'll have to figure this out. Proves Geiru couldn't have killed her master even with Soba allergy. She could have written the note, but what does that really prove? Just the flower? Discovered after entering the room, feeding her dog. None of that matters. This doesn't matter. Should be able to get this right at least. Nothing in his lungs. Which would maybe mean that there wasn't any soba in the air because of the flower. Something to do with the flower. That's the only thing I can think of. But it's soba flower, so that defeats the purpose. Nothing in his lungs. I mean, I think it's one of these two. Okay, maybe not. I don't like how there's no music. There should be something there, shouldn't there? Use this to avoid triggering an allergic reaction. Maybe she used the bowl itself? Well, that doesn't make sense. I've never heard of that fact before. That's new. Yeah. How did she avoid an allergic reaction? Why didn't she have an allergic reaction in the first place? Because her perfume blocked out the smell, or... Those are magic. I'm not really seeing it. Could have left the door open. There's gotta be something bigger than that. The fact that he had nothing in his lungs? Should be nothing to do with that. There's only so many pieces of evidence. How hard could it be? Something to do with his statement? Feeding her dog. Why do I feel like it's something to do with the dog? This case just wasn't very inspiring. The ending especially. Although I should still be able to at least do this much. I guess saving is pointless because it just lets you continue anyway. It's not the dog thing. Nothing to do with that, is it? The broth. This. Sake. Just the fact that nothing was in his lungs. Shouldn't that be... No. Okay, I'll just do every piece of evidence. I give up on this case, dude. Oh my god. It's just not that interesting of a subject matter anyway. At least we get our full health back so we can just try literally every piece of evidence. I don't know. I didn't enjoy this too much. It's like even when you find out the answer, it's not intuitive. It's just, I don't like it. So we tried these two and we tried this. So something to do with this maybe, but what? How? Like even when she says I can't figure it out though. They did kind of show it in the little, whatever, her mental flashback. But why? Can I figure it out? Resting, do not disturb. What about that has to do with... I don't get it, even as she's saying it. Just so she had time to prep the scene, like he died way before he even started cooking. Or it proves he wasn't cooking yet. No, she must have made the note. It actually means this dough is resting, do not disturb it. Okay, I would have never thought of that. Even he doesn't like it. Like he told us many a time, you don't let Soba dough rest. But maybe she made it with that intention. She didn't know that, so she put it. Making a different kind of noodles, although I don't know why or how would we really know that. You done? Their flour in the dressing room wasn't Soba flour, but plain old wheat flour. Couldn't we have just tested it to see that? How would we not have determined that earlier? She could have used a mask like that and gloves like she's wearing now. Shouldn't you have done that from the fucking beginning, dude? Soba noodles were found in the bowl, and Geiru did have a reaction, but that could be something different. She must have touched something. You still cannot prove she committed the crime, but she's just as likely as the defendant. So why not? Your blade. Now what does he want? Oh, now we get this animation. What is this thing called anyway? Visualizing the case. Bits of evidence that Geiru committed this murder. What was Tornado making in his dressing room? Apparently we just claimed that without any proof. We haven't even tested the damn shit, the flower, but supposedly that's correct. Yeah, and nobody's questioning that. Unproven fact. What was found in the bowl was obviously soba, ramen. Okay, so somebody tried to change it. So she cooked it herself, that's why her hand's like that? Even though Master wasn't making it, they were found at the scene. Noodles had to have come from somewhere. You said they're the murder weapon somehow. The undone dough. There was one in the fridge that went missing. So somebody cooked it who didn't know what they were doing, so she cooked it? Yeah, she must have made... No, it was the one from his stock, right? Because there was one missing from the fridge or something. She could have still made it. Okay, uncooked noodles, but... Why would the culprit go out of their way to cook that soba and put it in the bowl? Why? Yeah, this is not a very hard choice. To hide the dough, even though you could just test it? What? Soba was found at the scene. Culprit must have taken the udon with her to hide it. Oh, the cooked udon. Killed him with the udon dough. Had a grudge against it. Killed him with soba. Well, that would make more sense, but then where did her rash come from? It would have made more sense if you said that she killed with the soba, because that's how her hand got that shit on it. Well, no weapon was found is because Geiru got rid of the dough somehow by feeding it to the dog, or the dog buried it. The udon dough. So the dog hid it underground, and Blackwell even saw that. Her fingerprints would be on it? Because of course she'd take her gloves off for this encounter. Dude, if you hit someone in the forehead with a butcher's cleaver, it doesn't just make a little dent like that. She'd be fucking dead. Would have pierced her skull. Injury on Geiru's forehead was performed by the victim's knife. Blood must have dripped down onto the dough. Oh yeah, it would be her blood, not his blood. I keep mixing that up. The dog buried it when he said they were burying dumplings. Somehow that happened. Just use the map and I'll point to the doghouse. Only other thing she did, which is play with the dog, feeding it some nasty shit. What if the dog ate that? That wouldn't have been good. Barking you did there? I assume you have the bite to back it up. Oh, nice little subliminal. He's not distracting you, he's giving you hints. That was pretty good. He didn't even notice it though. The statement, so he figured it out. So I could show the diagram, or I could show this. It must be this. Simon's own statement. The prosecution / defense advisor is testifying and advising me at the same time. I'm just an innocent girl. Now she's put back on her old act. You're pretty old. You're too old to be cute. Geiru got rid of the dough she used to kill Tornado in a bold and daring way. By feeding it to her dog. But the dog wouldn't eat it, he buried it. Looks like he already knew that. At least a minute ago. Yeah, you could never just make a mistake. Check the yard, dig up the hole. Buried his leftover dumplings. Dumplings that Geiru made out of the udon dough with her blood on it. So you would have let your dog eat that shit? That's the real crime. Feeding bloody, dirty dough to your dog. Yeah. Why? That should be the end, right? Gotta wait for them to dig that shit up. What would happen when the truth is finally revealed? Your balloon or my? True facts. Let's see what our breakdown's gonna look like. Is it gonna be as cinematic as the other two? That couldn't have been it. Yeah, we've seen that. Yep, you've lost to all three of us now. Pathetic. Or Kuga artist. You wish you were. You realize you weren't good enough? This is like a more of an old-fashioned breakdown. The way that Mr. Rios broke down was way more cinematic. It was like a whole cutscene. He was doing like a trick. And we didn't even get one at all in the case 3. That was just a wig. Was it because of your dad? And then they wouldn't let you. Nobody feels bad for you. Uendo. If I did the stupid balloon thing, I'd inherit the name someday, but then they were giving it to the other guy. Junior disciple who leapfrogged you. Yeah, that motive was pretty easy to see. It's kind of your own fault though. If you were better, why wouldn't he choose you? Why did he choose the day of the show? Because it was when he was getting commemorated. Yeah. And to be fair, she'd feel like he's cheating because he has a split personality to fall back on, which makes it easier to... It's like the perfect thing for Rakogu. Pin the blame on him at the same time. But then it ended up being Bucky. Which kind of worked. Did you know he was making udon in his dressing room? Why does that matter? Worried about my allergy. The only chance to get revenge. So you did it anyway. Premeditated on impulse. That's kind of oxymoronic. From touching the soba in the refrigerator with your bare hands. When you're tampering, why not use your gloves? A character that literally wears gloves all the time, except when she's committing crimes. Like even in that depiction, artist depiction of her killing him, it looks like her hands are bare. Why the fuck? Oh, okay, makes perfect sense. You are a bit of a dumbass. But just be better then. If you were good enough, you wouldn't have needed it. Was his ability? Or his heart? Okay. Like you even knew who he was, Athena. Just retire. You've lost literally everybody. The novice, the semi-novice Apollo, and then the experienced Phoenix. But even that one was more fair because despite his experience over you, you had a whole country rigging it against him. I'm gonna announce my retirement. Imagine losing to Athena and Apollo. Ah, so pathetic. Who cares? She won't remember your name. Fucking loser. Who cares? He's not a worthy adversary for you because he sucks. He's lost 3 cases in a row. Once to each character. What are you supposed to think of him now? You suck, dude. Although he did beat Phoenix once, to be fair. He did do that. The full recovery, he passes out every time he talks, though. Just stay quiet. Jesus, that was not only a filler case, it was just a clunker. Case 5 better be epic. Imagine if there was no case 5, it just ends here. Phoenix just comes home with Maya and it's all over. Good ending. All he was doing was visiting, dude. Guy can't even take a vacation without causing trouble. I'm surprised it was a pretty decent length trial. I just don't know that it was really worth it. And again, it has nothing to do whatsoever with the main story. Nothing. Sucks that you're accused of a crime that you didn't commit. Isn't that always the way? You know what that's like, Athena. No, he was just panicking. If only he had thought to frame Geiru, then she would have been actually found guilty of what she actually did. Innuendo. Could get framed for a crime on a whim. Not really. Out of convenience, that's often how it is. Completely cleared. Buck up. Really want to know is, why didn't Tornado let you? Because she sucks. She must not be very good at it. Not that I thought that other guy was very good either, but I think the master was trying to encourage her to quit the entertainment business. He didn't give the name to her because he wanted Geiru to find her own calling in life. To perform whatever she wanted without being bound to her father's name or Rakugo. But she did seem like she wanted to do it. Making you done was his way of showing his support for her in her new endeavor. That's kind of stupid though. to teach him how to make udon. Always doing stuff cryptically. But she still would have been pissed. You stole my father's lineage. Even though the person in question still seems unaware of his intentions. How so? How do you know you weren't there? Oh. Famous present evidence. We haven't had to do this, have we? We didn't do it in case 3 at least. I don't remember the other 2. Where you present after the fact. Can we at least get this right? Just by performing all the Soba stuff? Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that. Just because he asked you to teach him? And if he criticized your cooking all the time, then why did he always eat your shit? He had a full supply of it in the fridge, right? Somehow the deed that he stole? I don't get it. But he took it from you, didn't he? Yeah, it might not be easy to change the name. He even said it. Force you to grow into a truly capable owner. This guy's got some fucked up ways of dealing with people. Could have gotten him killed twice over. Tough love so that the shop wouldn't just go belly up. I don't really think that's a good method. It's not like you killed him over it. Shouldn't steal a fucking deed as a prank though. Just a prank, bro. He pranked both of them. Geiru and Bucky. 4th generation owner. Unlikable defendant. Not that impressive of a villain. Pretty bad logic. That psychology shit was really bad. 30-second review. This case sucks. And it doesn't even relate to the overarching plot in Korean. Only good thing is they mentioned Edgeworth, so he must be in case 5. That's all he does anymore. Ever since the first game, he only appears in the last case. Justice for all. Trials and tribulations he stood in for Phoenix when Phoenix got hurt. And then Apollo Justice, obviously he's not there. Dual Destinies, he comes to take down the Phantom. So he might come here too. Not might, he must. And even Sodomy respects him. TLC Master. Should have brought the whole agency to defend you. Can we get to the real case now? Not that I'm going to do it today, but... leveled up any. Would have been a spectacle and a half had I not been by your side. I think it's pretty obvious. She's too sensitive. That's a fair point. That's good advice. Just teach me. More pesky, they're longer. You're not giving up being a prosecutor. You know, the better way to train me would have been to be the prosecutor in this case, even though she'd already beat you in the last game, right? In 5-3, Turnabout Academy. Best interest for you. Oh, so she feels threatened by me. You the one who had the wool pulled over your eyes by Uendo? Would do time Soba. What's that? Why didn't Mon number 9 get counted? Because he said the day instead? Because 7, 8, 9. Oh, God. Are you fucking serious? That's what we get? That's what we get for that? Quoting Mo. Only Mo could come up with such a bad joke. Owe me for the Manju. So does the judge and everybody else, right? Okay, is that finally the end? Nope, keeps going. What a waste of time that case was. Waste of a case. Just to compare it, at least, to the other case 4s in the series, outside of Dual Destinies, which was a cop-out. Because that should just be considered part of case 5. All the other ones were pretty damn good. Has there ever been a bad case 4? Goodbyes was good. Second game was good. Trials was good, although a bit short. A single day kind of trial situation too. So maybe Trials is a weak link. Hall of Justice was good. Both investigations were very good. Callisto U was amazing. Blaze was very, very good. Yeah, so it's a very weak link. Simon before you. You say that like he's dead. Yeah. We didn't need that case to prove that, dude. You're just gonna be his assistant in case 5 anyway. We haven't used Apollo since case 2, so they both got one case to shine. Apollo in 2, Athena in 4. What's he gonna be called? Revolution. That has been what we've been building up to the whole time. Let's see what the art looked like for that case at least. That was almost like case 1 in terms of like a case 1 format and length and everything. BUGR. Or what is that? I don't know what that top right is supposed to be.